We the people. These are the first 3 words of the United States Constitution. They are simple. They are powerful. They are the most important words in the entire document. They tell us exactly who is in charge of our country. Us. It is not a king, a queen, or a distant ruler. It is the citizens. The government serves the people, not the other way around. This simple idea was revolutionary back when the Constitution was written. It still is today. It is a constant reminder that the power to shape our nation and its rules rests in our hands. It is a promise and a responsibility. This document matters. It is not just some old piece of parchment sitting in a museum. It is the instruction manual for our country. It sets the rules of the game for our government and our society. It protects our most basic rights. The Constitution itself was born out of a need for something better. After the Revolutionary War, the first government was set up under the Articles of Confederation. It was too weak. The states acted like separate little countries. The national government could not collect taxes or build an army effectively. So, in the hot summer of 1787, leaders from across the states gathered in Philadelphia. They met at what we now call the Constitutional Convention. Their goal was to create a new framework for a government that was strong enough to unite the country, but also fair enough to protect individual liberty. It was a monumental task filled with debate and compromise. What they created was a masterpiece of political thought. The U.S. Constitution became the supreme law of the land when it took effect in 1789. It laid out a brilliant plan for a federal government with 3 distinct branches. There is the legislative branch, called Congress, which makes the laws. There is the executive branch, led by the president, who enforces the laws. And there is the judicial branch, headed by the Supreme Court, which interprets the laws. This separation of powers was designed to prevent any one part of the government from becoming too powerful. It created a system of checks and balances, a core principle that protects our freedom to this day. The main body of the Constitution is organized into 7 sections called articles. Think of them as the original chapters of the rulebook. Article 1 is the longest section, and it sets up Congress. It creates a 2-part legislature, the House of Representatives, with members based on a state's population, and the Senate, with 2 members from every state. This was a big compromise between large states and small states. Article 2 establishes the presidency. It outlines the powers and duties of the president, who serves as the head of state and commander-in-chief. Article 3 creates the federal court system with the Supreme Court at the top. It gives the courts the power to settle legal disputes under federal law. The remaining articles handle the mechanics of the new system. Article 4 explains the relationship between the states and the federal government and ensures states respect each other's laws. Article 6 contains the Supremacy Clause, which states that the Constitution and federal laws are the highest laws in the nation. State laws cannot override them. Article 7 describes how the states would ratify the Constitution. But perhaps the most forward-thinking part of the original plan is Article 5. This article provides the method for amending or changing the Constitution. The framers were brilliant, but they were not prophets. The framers knew they could not predict the future. They understood that the world would change in ways they could not even imagine. New challenges would arise. Old flaws might become more apparent over time. Society's values might evolve. Because of this, they built in a way for the Constitution to adapt without having to be completely rewritten. They wanted to create a document that was stable and enduring, but not rigid and brittle. Article 5 was their solution. It made changing the Constitution difficult, requiring a broad consensus, but not impossible. This ensured that changes would be thoughtful and serious, not made on a whim. This need for amendments became clear almost immediately. During the debates over ratifying the Constitution, many people feared the new federal government would be too powerful. They worried it would trample on the rights of individual citizens. States like Virginia and New York only agreed to ratify the Constitution on the condition that a Bill of Rights would be added as soon as possible. The deal made to allow slavery, though not mentioned by name, was a moral compromise that would eventually tear the nation apart. Later, things like technology, new ideas about equality, and unforeseen events would all create situations that the original 1787 text did not address. Amendments were the necessary tool to fix these problems and keep the Constitution relevant. As promised, the very first Congress proposed a series of amendments to protect individual liberties. 10 of these were ratified by the states in 1791. We know them today as the Bill of Rights. These first 10 amendments are some of the most famous and most important parts of the entire Constitution. They act as a shield, protecting people from potential overreach by the federal government. They spell out the fundamental rights and freedoms that belong to every American. These are the rights the government cannot take away. The First Amendment is a cornerstone of American freedom. It protects 5 essential liberties in one powerful sentence. It guarantees freedom of religion, so you can believe, or not believe, as you see fit. It protects freedom of speech, so you can voice your opinions without fear of government punishment. It ensures freedom of the press, so journalists can report the news and hold leaders accountable. It also protects the right of the people to assemble peacefully, a protest, a public meeting. These rights allow for the free exchange of ideas, which is the lifeblood of a healthy democracy. Other amendments in the Bill of Rights protect us in our daily lives and in our interactions with the law. The Second Amendment protects the right to keep and bear arms. The third prevents the government from forcing you to house soldiers. The fourth protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures. Law enforcement generally needs a warrant based on probable cause to search your home or your property. It creates a vital zone of privacy around each person. The Bill of Rights also ensures that people accused of crimes are treated fairly, a bedrock principle. The Fifth Amendment includes the right to remain silent. It also says you cannot be tried for the same crime twice. The Sixth Amendment guarantees a speedy and public trial, an impartial jury, and the right to have a lawyer. The Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishments. Together, these amendments ensure that even when the government exercises its power, it must follow the rules and respect the dignity of the individual. The original Constitution had a deep, tragic flaw. And to get all the states to agree, the framers made compromises that protected the institution of slavery. This contradiction at the heart of a nation founded on liberty eventually led to the Civil War, the bloodiest conflict in American history. After the Union victory, the country faced the monumental task of rebuilding and redefining itself. This period, known as Reconstruction, produced 3 of the most transformative amendments in our history. They are often called the Civil War Amendments or the Reconstruction Amendments, and they fundamentally changed the meaning of freedom and citizenship in the United States. The first of these was the 13th Amendment, ratified in 1865. Its language is direct and powerful. Slavery and involuntary servitude shall not exist within the United States. With this single sentence, the amendment officially and forever abolished the institution that had plagued the nation for over 2 centuries. It corrected the Constitution's greatest moral failing. While the Emancipation Proclamation had freed slaves in the Confederacy during the war, the 13th Amendment made that freedom permanent and universal across the entire country. Next came the 14th Amendment in 1868. It addressed who was a citizen, establishing that all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens, and granted citizenship to millions of formerly enslaved people. It also forbids states from denying any person life, liberty, or property without due process of law, and guarantees every person the equal protection of the laws. This Equal Protection Clause became a powerful tool for fighting discrimination, used in landmark civil rights cases from ending school segregation to supporting marriage equality. Finally, the 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, declared the right to vote shall not be denied on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Despite this, many states used poll taxes and literacy tests to block black citizens. The struggle to fulfill its promise took another century of courageous activism. The story of America can be told through the story of who gets to vote. When the Constitution was written, the right to vote was mostly limited to white, land-owning men. Over the next 2 centuries, a series of hard-fought amendments dramatically expanded the electorate, making our democracy more representative of its people. Each of these changes was the result of decades of struggle, protest, advocacy. They reflect a slow but steady march toward the ideal of a government truly of the people, by the people, for the people. One major change came with the 17th Amendment in 1913. Before this, U.S. senators were selected by state legislatures, a system seen as undemocratic and prone to corruption. The 17th Amendment established the direct election of senators by the voters of each state, shifting power from state governments to the public and increasing accountability. The biggest expansion came in 1920 with the 19th Amendment. For decades, women had organized, marched, picketed, gone to jail. The amendment finally declared that the right to vote shall not be denied on account of sex, nearly doubling the electorate overnight and recognizing women as full and equal citizens. Even after the 15th, many southern states used poll taxes to suppress votes. The 24th Amendment in 1964 banned poll taxes in federal elections. During the Vietnam War, many argued that if 18-year-olds were old enough to fight, they were old enough to vote. The 26th Amendment in 1971 lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. Not all amendments are about expanding individual rights. Some are more like tune-ups for the machinery of government itself. Over the years, Americans have used the amendment process to fix problems, clarify rules, and adapt the government's structure to new realities. They may seem less dramatic, but they are crucial for making our government work smoothly, fairly, and effectively, and show the Constitution's ability to self-correct. A perfect example is the 22nd Amendment, ratified in 1951. For a century and a half, there was no formal presidential term limit. After Franklin D. Roosevelt's 4 elections, concerns about concentrated power led to making Washington's 2-term tradition into law. Another key fix came with the 25th Amendment in 1967, clarifying presidential succession and disability. Before then, the Constitution was vague. The amendment created a clear, step-by-step process and allows the vice president to serve as acting president when needed, and it fills a vacant vice presidency. Other amendments address distinct problems. The 11th limited certain lawsuits involving states. The 12th refined presidential elections. The 20th reduced long lame duck periods. So, what do we make of these 27 amendments? Added over more than 2 centuries, they tell a story. They tell the story of a nation constantly striving to live up to its own ideals. The Constitution is not a static, frozen document. It is a living plan for governance, designed to be both stable and adaptable. The amendments are the proof. They allow the nation to grow. They let us correct our mistakes. They help us face new challenges without tearing down the whole structure. They are the mechanism that keeps 1787's principles alive. They make them relevant in 2026 and beyond. They are why our Constitution is the oldest written national constitution still in use today.